Breaking news right out of the gate here on the Ben Garcia Show. Normally a Benstant reaction. We're not doing that this time around. We're just incorporating it into the whole show. DeAndre Hopkins traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. My first reaction to it when I saw it this morning, I immediately looked at my phone, saw the update, and it said Chiefs trade for, and I just read Cooper Kupp. I was 4 a.m. when I had saw this on the West Coast time. 4:30 a.m. I'm just waking up. I'm like, wait, what? They actually made the deal? This makes sense. It works out. Scratched my eyes, did a double take, and saw DeAndre Hopkins traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, obviously, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but just a fun story to be able to tell here on the show. My first reaction to DeAndre Hopkins going to the Kansas City Chiefs is just simply, it makes sense. They've got a lot of injuries. They've got a lot of people down. Isaiah Pacheco, Juju Smith-Schuster. Right now, Patrick Mahomes is playing with an aging Travis Kelce, a backup running back in Kareem Hunt who is signed off the scrap heap just a couple of weeks ago, and Justin Watson and Sky Moore. It's just not enough. DeAndre Hopkins adds a little bit of juice to this team. I was surprised when I saw that it was a conditional 4th-round pick. A 5th-round pick sounds more of the aspect of what DeAndre Hopkins should get, but a 4th-round pick, not too much of an overpay. Brett Veach is a good GM, and it is a conditional 4th-round pick. I'm still yet to see the conditions on that pick. I was a little confused, though, when I saw the Kansas City Chiefs traded for DeAndre Hopkins. I expected them to go big game hunting. They are trying to make history, and right now, the number 1 team in the NFL is the Kansas City Chiefs, and there is no number 2. I just expected them to hand over the 2nd-round pick, hand over the 3rd-round pick for Cooper Kupp. Now, given there were some salary constraints there, not allowing them to be able to go get their guy. Or I guess I should say there were some salary restraints there, not allowing them to go get their guy. But DeAndre Hopkins does add an element to this team that isn't necessarily predicated on just his athleticism. What has made DeAndre Hopkins so special in the league for so long is his catch radius, his ability to put the ball anywhere, and he will likely come down with it. That is exactly what Patrick Mahomes needs right now. Right now, Patrick is just a little up and down with his accuracy, kind of a little bit everywhere. It's not to say Patrick Mahomes is a bad quarterback. I don't even think he's having a terrible year, even though the casuals on Twitter will tell you that. Because, yeah, the stats aren't great, but every time they need to play, Patrick Mahomes makes it happen. What DeAndre Hopkins is going to add is an element of a deep shot down the field. He doesn't have blazing speed, but as I mentioned before, his catch radius is so wide, you can put that ball just about anywhere and deliver it right in the breadbasket of DeAndre Hopkins. He's produced everywhere he's went. This is a perfect guy who finally deserves a quarterback that can get the ball to him. Kyler Murray did this, but still at times, those guys weren't on the same page. Kyler was injured. DeAndre Hopkins got injured. They just missed some time together. But whether it was Ryan Mallett or Matt Schaub, whoever the Texans were rolling out at quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think, was there as well. Or at times, it was Colt McCoy with the Cardinals. Or Kyler Murray, a capable quarterback. And now Patrick Mahomes. DeAndre Hopkins is the simple receiver that just works everywhere. He has a track record of working everywhere. Whatever quarterback he works with, he just puts up 1,000 yards and a handful of touchdowns. Now he's had an injury history. That's something that worries me as well for the Chiefs. Over the past couple of seasons, he played every game last year. But dating back to 2021, he only played 10 games, 2022, 9 games, and in 2024, he has played in all 6 games this year. So just a little bit of an injury history for DeAndre Hopkins. Not anything crazy, mostly durable throughout the rest of his career, basically only missing 1 or 2 games prior to that point since entering the Arizona Cardinals. Overall, the Kansas City Chiefs are in go-for-it mode. They are trying to make history. DeAndre Hopkins activates an element of this offense that they haven't had since Tyreek Hill left. a wide receiver that can go up and get it with a spectacular range for a catch radius. He also allows them to go downfield, get cheap touchdowns. This is what the Mahomes Chiefs team has kind of been missing this year. The element of surprise, the element of a cheap touchdown, the element of a broken play, broken coverage, element over the top touchdown to a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. And when you add DeAndre Hopkins to this team, which, make no mistake, is not nearly the prime player he used to be, but still a number one wide receiver, especially on this Chiefs team, that alleviates some pressure off Patrick Mahomes to make everything work just with Scrap Heap and Sky Moore and Kareem Hunt in the backfield. This allows guys like Travis Kelce, who's in that aging part and saving himself towards the end of the season, to take a step back. The Chiefs' offense just looks better when fully healthy when you add DeAndre Hopkins to that mix. This allows everyone to take a step back, go back to a role that they're probably more comfortable with, and then putting DeAndre Hopkins in that spot. I'll be honest with you, I still am a little surprised that they aimed somewhat low and safe in DeAndre Hopkins. Patrick Mahomes gets it done with everyone, so maybe I shouldn't be surprised. But I don't think that the Kansas City Chiefs are done. I would not be surprised if they gave away a 6th-round pick or a 4th-round pick or another day 2 or day 3 pick for a guy like Deontay Johnson, for a guy who could be out there, Christian Kirk. That name would make sense. DeAndre Hopkins is still a very productive wide receiver and works with literally any quarterback. But this Chiefs team, although this alleviates some pressure from Mahomes, I do think needs to make one more move. Could they still win the Super Bowl with the guys they got? Sure. But do you want to try that again? Or do you want to make it easier on yourself? And with a GM like Brett Veach who makes the right decision everywhere he goes, it just makes sense for them to make one more move. And I believe they will, whether it's for a Deontay Johnson, whether it's for a Christian Kirk. But the rest of the league needs to be put on notice. Because if the Chiefs do make another move for a guy to the tier of a wide receiver of Christian Kirk or a Deontay Johnson or someone else out there, there's no one stopping the Chiefs. Already, there was no one stopping the Chiefs. The Bills, no, I've already seen that story before. As much as I love Josh Allen, they're not getting done with Sean McDermott. The Ravens, sure, they have Derrick Henry, but abandon their game plan every time they play the Chiefs. The Texans are interesting, but lost last week to the Packers. The Niners, no, we've seen that Super Bowl before. No one was beating the Chiefs. Adding DeAndre Hopkins adds insurance to that. Just making sure that everyone knows they're still not within arm's reach of the Chiefs. DeAndre Hopkins as well is a very smart player, hyper competitive. I am happy for the guy as a scorned Cardinals fan who basically got dropped off from the Cardinals, going over to the Chiefs and having a real chance to win a Super Bowl. And at this point, adding DeAndre Hopkins, although it's not exactly what I thought they were going to do, and although he adds an element to this offense, cheap touchdowns over the top, broken plays, huge catch radius, and still a very productive wide receiver, it does shock me that they didn't get someone a little bit better than DeAndre Hopkins at this point in his career. I don't think they're done. I think someone like Deontay Johnson, Christian Kirk, is still on their radar. But if anyone thought they were catching the Chiefs or anyone thought they were lacking, this is just more insurance and more notice to the league that they are just head and shoulders above everyone else and no one is really close. Great get for the Chiefs. Great get. I still expect them to do a little bit more. But as of right now, even before this trade, they are head and shoulders the Super Bowl favorite, and they just keep on outsmarting everyone else. This makes all the world in a sense for the Chiefs, and they are still the team to beat in the NFL.